Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question, and that is how to confront a narcissist. We've done videos and discussions on this in the past, and how to confront a narcissist and how to confront a psychopath. You must understand that if you are going to confront a narcissist, you have to do it for yourself. This is for you. This is not about expecting anything from them. So if you're going to confront them, and they wanted me to get right to the point, because if you understand a narcissist, then you don't need any more explanation. So this is just a real tools hands-on. If you were going to confront a narcissist, realize that they do not like to be challenged. They don't like to be called out. They don't like to be confronted. They don't like that sort of anger. It makes them feel very fearful, insecure, and then you're going to elicit narcissist rage. So you don't want to come across angry, emotional, quote unquote, air quotes, confrontational. You want to do this for you. It's more of a release for what you are holding on to, because this is your truth. This is your music. This is your vibe. This is the fiber of your being, the material from which you are woven. I mean, this is your experience. So this has to be for you. Period. End of story. And if it makes you feel better to put it all on the table so they know what you have experienced in the inner math, in the interim, of the relationship. Don't go to the aftermath. Go just in the interim, what you relay as truth. So in other words, you're presenting a fact. You're presenting something objectively. And the approach with which you have previously engaged with them, if it's been heated, hostile, cold, change the temperature. Change the vibe. If you're going to confront them, don't do it as a challenge, but do it as a way to sort of lay out everything on the table. So you're doing sort of like a purge, if you will. You're doing a complete and a deep purge. You're doing a deep cleansing. You're not taking any pushback or resistance. You're not going to be ganged up with all of their excuses. You don't want to have, this to be a sort of tit for tat where you're giving them attention by the challenge, because a narcissist, the way they perceive challenge is that they're still in control, and that's how they're going to have it. So it's very different between a narcissist and a psychopath, but you have to realize that if you're going to confront them, you're going to lay out everything on the table, and just in a very, a great thing is to do it in a very different emotional tone from which you have previously carried with them. So if you have been enthusiastic, inflamed, impassioned, whatever it is, where, things you felt got out of hand, I want you to really, really feel that things are in hand, that you've really seriously got a grip. Like literally pick up something, I've got a grip on this. So I was using this before. When you're confronting a narcissist, and this is just what I had, I didn't have a regular glass sitting around. Oh, I do. Okay, excuse me. Confronting a narcissist. This is on my table. If you're holding this little jar, this is not heavy. This little vase is probably 4 ounces, 6 ounces. Okay, this is not heavy. But if you were to carry this around for a year, in your hands, this would begin to get very heavy. You would just be like, I cannot carry this anymore. Like, I'm getting too tense. I need to let it go. That's what confronting a narcissist really is. It's about helping and releasing yourself. Letting it go. Stop holding on to them virtually. It's like you're letting go of a virtual hold on. You've been holding on to them like fodder for the grist of your mill, if you will. You got to get the grist of your mill out. So how they've made you feel, how they've caused you to be triggered, having these reactions, things that it's caused you to, do things that are very unsavory, that you regret, or that aren't the best part of you. They pulled out the worst of you. Oftentimes is the confrontation, and you can't handle it any longer. The pain is great enough. You are committed now to healing. You are committed to recovery. you're committed to getting this out in the open and airing it out. What they think is clean is really dirty. It's a flipped representation in their mind. So you can't expect that there's going to be a kumbaya, a closure, but to confront them, if there are things that they have done, confrontation really means like I'm listing this and this and this and this, and it's just you're laying out the truth, but you want their ears to hear it. It doesn't mean that they process it. All you need for them to do is hear it. So you can, say if you're, I just need you to hear me out. You don't need to listen. So give them an out, give them a choice. Narcissists love to feel in control. So if you're going to confront a narcissist, make sure you let them know that they are in control. And you have to be in an accepted and forgiven enough state to allow them to be the narcissist that they are. Allow them to be who they are. You've seen their true colors. Stop doubting yourself. They've done a series of events that have maybe impacted you adversely, negatively, and you're not going to tolerate this anymore. You're exalting your truth. So you need to that's what empowerment is about. So, if you need to verbally confront them, you don't need to listen. I just need you to hear me out. And you're going to do it in person, and you can just unleash, let go, put it all out there, and just don't be angry, hostile, out of control. You can have, M. Scott Peck, one of the important things, is not living a lie and, experiencing legitimate suffering. This is legitimate suffering. M. Scott Peck, you are going through this. I mean, this is real. This is, but you want to be released for good. And, you want to go for the big goal. You're sick of looking at the crumb pile that they are, or that the relationship is, or how it's made you feel. You need to go big and dream big, or whatever it is, the natural impetus of your personality right now that's pushing you forward beyond this suffering. So you can let them know, give them choices. I just need you to hear me out. You don't need to listen. And of course, as I was saying, your emotional tone should be very cool, calm, and collected, and just stating very matter of fact, almost like it's not even you speaking. Unless you have a lot of heated that you need to like raise your voice a little bit, and then just be very stern. But, committed to this is for you. This is all, confronting them is about you. It's about doing the happy dance. You finally have enough brain cells that you've connected, situations that you've connected, that you have got a handle on things. Get a handle and then let it go. You're not carrying this around for another, and you don't need to tell them this. That is for your privacy and your ears and your heart only. But to confront them is to let them know that and you don't need to tell them you're not a fool. You need just to put forth the evidence. You don't need to tell them that you'll be more happy. You just become more happy. You don't need to tell them, the obvious. Don't waste your time on that. This has made me upset. You ruin, don't give them that power. You have your power. You have your power. Period. End of story. So however it is, you need to lay it all out. You've, this and this, and, in other words, you have enough data right now. You have enough information. You're laying it out, and, and that is, end of chapter, and you can give them, you can just tell them end of chapter, and then you walk away. Whenever it is that you're done, have it, and you can comment here, but you need to lay it out in a very dispassionate way, and not just blame, but just citing the facts. Because if you're blaming, that means part of you is still giving up your power. Part of confronting a narcissist is that you're regaining your power. You're regaining all of your power, all of it, not a splice. You're regaining all of your power. For some people, that's very intimidating and it's overwhelming. But when it comes to, confronting that, it's something that you need to realize that your commitment is going to be with you and help you run, victorious. And you need to really calm yourself down and just allow yourself to be and composed, feeling that you're representing to yourself. You're not representing to the narcissist. You're representing yourself. So you don't need to engage them with blame. To confront them is just an acknowledgement and awareness of what is. But take the blame flavor out of it. Take the blame vibe. You did this, you did this, you did this. Because a narcissist, they're going to snap back and you're going to get the narcissist rage and you're not going to feel that you've gotten anywhere. So to confront them basically means either you're asking for a change or you're saying end of story. If you're giving them an opportunity to change, if it's not really arising up from within them, then oftentimes you can't rely on that change. Unless they've come forth to you and they've acknowledged and validated and said, I'm sorry, then they're not sorry. Do you see? They have not done anything wrong. And I'll also do a video, on confronting a psychopath, which is a whole different, situation. So you have to, understand to what degree is the severity of this person. And the severity of the wrongs that they have done unto you. You really, you don't want to have vengeance, vengeance on them and try to get back at them. You need to do this for you. You need to become, confronting of self at the same time. And it should be a confidence builder. So now that you're not holding on to that, you are moving in the direction of strength and confidence and just that feeling and that awareness, and allow your senses to open up to that and just to be firm, and then to take in like a sponge everything that you need throughout your day, minute by minute by minute. If you need to break it down, stitch by stitch, then do it. But confronting them should feel like you have it from A to Z. You've got the whole thing, and if it's something that they need to change and you're looking for them to change, I wouldn't bank on it. I would not bank on it. You might be pleasantly surprised, but there's still all that other stuff going on. So either if you're, going to take the good with the bad, then you're going to take the good with the bad, and that has to be for you. You're going to have to own how you process then the deficit, and how you then fulfill that, because you're not going to be fair to yourself. It's going to become very relevant and very apparent that it's not fair to yourself that you remain just sort of apathetic and without. You're going to have to find a way to advocate for yourself and get into the situations where then you don't have to have this whole confrontation need all the time after it's really bottled up. Is we're saying, if this has been, this is a heavy picture. This is just right here. But if you have to, and it's very heavy, and you're, you have to realize and have compassion on yourself. First of all, coming in when you're confronting them, realize that you have been through a lot and that you have a lot built up. So give some credibility to yourself and say, amen. I am giving myself credit for acknowledging and validating this, and then see if you can connect with others as a support system, just for sort of debriefing and moving forward, so you can stay on track and enforce, moving forward. But, having an opening statement like that and then close, end of the chapter, and then, end of chapter, and not that it's like showing that it's affecting you, but it's just end of chapter, meaning you've just dealt with it, handled, and it's gone, it's done. And make a clean break. It might be kind of snaggy. You can clean up some loose ends, but do as much preparation work as you can so you don't have a lot of loose ends. Just make sure if you're confronting them, you're putting everything out on the table. It is what it is. This is, and because you're sick of living and validating a lie, which is meaning you haven't aired some things out. So that's very unpleasant, very unhealthy. So I do recommend putting your foot down, being assertive, knowing your boundaries and standards. Boundaries and standards. So boundaries meaning when you cross this line, it's too much. When you, do this to my workday, or you do this to my possessions, or you do this to my feelings, that's too much. Like, you've just, you've walking on toes. You violated, there's a violation energy feeling if you felt that. There also has to be what I feel as a standard, which means a level to which I expect. They have an expectation and then you have an expectation. So you need to understand what your expectations are from you as they are initiated and sort of springing forth from within yourself. What are your personal standards? You might have shared them with them. You might have growing standards. You might be lowering your standards, or you might be raising your standards, or you might be just keeping everything hunky-dory, status quo. But, when you're confronting them, just communicate what needs to be communicated very clearly. You don't use a lot of flowery language if you're confronting, very objective, not a lot of emotional words, just, and it might be the obvious, so if you're restating the obvious with a narcissist, they're going to give you that look. So don't pay attention to any feedback. I would say, if it's getting overwhelming and they're just trying to put you back, in your box, put you back in your jar, they're trying to bottle you back up like the I Dream of Jeannie, like, I'm not dealing with this right now. I don't want to, you have to confront very clean, calm, very few words. It's just, it is what it is. This is, it's intolerable. It's uninhabitable. It's desert-like. It is, and then you just give an explanation. This is not functional. This is dysfunctional. It's not working. The pieces are not right. I mean, you have to own this, but the way you confront to the narcissist is just, give a very objective finish if you're confronting them. End of chapter. Not something personal to you, but just something statement that shows there's closure and when it's the end, so you kind of have an end, a beginning and an end. And make sure you get it all out as a purge, and so that you then have an exit strategy or a coping strategy, but you cannot spend all your relationship and all your days in a coping mechanism. If you're always coping, always dealing, always adjusting, always fixing, to what degree is that too much for you and not required? So you can use words like required, necessary, fundamental, basic, just some very, here's my English, as you, if you're on the channel, you need to use very specific words, that put it and nail it into place. So you can then back off and feel that you've released all the energy and that things have calmed down for you. It's all about you. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. And I hope that everything goes well and that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate. And please comment and let us know, keep us posted how things are going. We would love to hear from you. Have a beautiful day.